Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to the channel. My name is Talisha, also known as CreativiTeeByT, and in today's video I am going to be sharing with you the new McCall's pattern for summer. These patterns were just released and I just happened to have time to be able to sit down and finally do one of these videos again. It's been a while since I've done a first looks video, so yeah, that's what this is, a first looks. I have not seen any of the patterns and details. I actually just kind of scrolled and once I saw that they had been released, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and record the video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at these patterns and maybe see which ones I plan to pick up. All right, let's head over to the next screen. All right, so the first pattern that we have here is McCall's sewing pattern unisex pants in 2 lengths. It says that it's loose fit pants pattern in floor and ankle length, have waistbands with elastic at the back and a button closure, front fly zipper, front pleats, and side seam pockets, and it is rated as average. So let's blow it up here on the screen. So here's your pleats, your front fly, very wide, and it has a very wide hem. And so this is view A and this is view B. It looks like view A is much wider than view B, but maybe not, I don't know. As you can see over here, it's actually cropped, so maybe that's the difference. Yeah, but it does seem like view B is a little bit wider. But I think it's super cute. I even like the tops that they have on. So hopefully that's in the lineup. But let's look at more photos here. So this is the same one. It's just without being blown up. And yep. All right. Here's the back of it. So it has an elastic size waist on the back, which is nice. Here's a close-up of his. And the bottom, see how wide this hem is, or long I should say the hem is. That's different, you know, it makes it unique. So let's look at the fabrics. It calls for batiks, broadcloths, chambrays, cotton blends, and linen types. It does use interfacing, and I'm assuming it would be to make this hem stiff and stand out. That makes total sense. So the hip sizes and the finish for the finished garment measurements come in the smallest of 37.5 to 59 inches for the hip. So it seems size inclusive. I guess that would depend on how small the waist is. But yeah, it's a super cute to me, you know, very stylish. Here's the line art. And okay, so yes, right here shows the difference. That's why it's so good to look at the line art. View A and view B are the same width. However, the hem is half the length. So that's your difference. McCall's 8588. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next pattern. So this next pattern is McCall's 8575, and it's McCall's sewing pattern Mrs. Dress with sleeve and length variations. This is a super cute dress. It states that it's an empire waist dress pattern that has ties at the neckline, a tiered skirt with gathers and length variations. Views A and B have short puff sleeves and elasticized cuffs. View C dress has spaghetti straps, and it is rated as average. So let's go ahead and blow up the dress and see this. This is super cute. I love empire styles of dresses. However, because I'm busty, I don't really feel comfortable in them, but I think they're absolutely adorable. This view B here would be my pick because I like the length on here, and view C as well. Perfect for the summer. But yeah, let's look at these ties. So this is just the tie right here. It comes into a tie and it looks like a bow. And I love this fabric here. And let's look at the other photos. So here's this photo right here. And the spaghetti strap. It'll be interesting to see what the back of this dress looks like. But it's super cute on her. Super cute. Okay, so this is what this back looks like. It's adorable. And see, my bra strap usually comes up to about here too. So yeah, sometimes these, you know, even though they're cute, they're just not ideal for me. So the suggested fabrics are going to be your cotton blends, gingham, poplin, and sateen. It does have a lining, and they call for lawn and lining fabrics. So the finished measurements are not listed for like the bust. It just gives measurements from the back length from the base of the neck. So you would probably have to look at the pattern pieces to see which size would work for you. And that's going to be difficult to do now that we have no stores that source these patterns. So hopefully, you know, I'm sure these patterns were already in production at the time that Joann's announced that they were no longer going to be around, or even way before that, because I believe they work on like their patterns like almost like 6 months, maybe even a year in advance. So hopefully moving forward, they'll think about that, you know, like making sure all these measurements are put on the internet, at least somewhere, you know, so that we'll know. So here is the line art. This is view A, view B, and view C, and they're pretty much the same. So it has a little zip here. All right, so let's take a look at the next pattern. All right, so this next pattern is McCall's 8586. McCall's 8586, and this is super cute. This is a Mrs. top and skirt in 2 lengths. It is a fitted unlined top sewing pattern that has princess seams and bias neck and armhole facings. It fitted A-line skirt sits 1 inch below the waist, has side, front, and side back seams and length variations, and this is rated as average. So yeah, super cute. It kind of is giving me like the sleeveless Chanel look, and I really like it. This is different for me, where it says that it is a 1 inch below waist skirt. That would never work for me. Because of how I'm shaped, but I think it's super adorable on her. This is very well sewn. Love the buttons. Yeah, it's super chic and classy. So let's take a look at the other photos for this. I love these princess seams here and the top stitching. Yeah, it's just very, very well done. Very nice, and I love this fabric too. And so here's a stitched or illustrated photo of the top and the skirt. It's her again, and let's take a look at this back. It's beautiful. Just beautiful. Nice and crisp. And then for the fabrics, it suggests boucle, denim, linen blend, sateen, twill, and this does call for lightweight fusible interfacing, and there's a lining for B and C, which are the skirts. So just keep that in mind. There is a waist finish measurement and a hip on this pattern, so you definitely know, which pattern you should purchase if you like this. I take that back. There's no waist measurement for the skirt, but there is a waist measurement for the top. Okay, there's a bust and a waist measurement for the top, and there's just a hip for B and C, which is the skirt, which, I don't really understand that, because you do have to make sure your waist is going to be able to fit into the skirts and the pants as well. So yeah, I'll never be able to understand that. But anyway, if you make pants, you probably know. But if you're not familiar with making pants, then you may not, or shorts and things like that, then you may not know which size to grab. So anywho, it's super cute though. Love it. Super classy. All right, so let's take a look at the line art here. Here's your line art. Here's your front, your back, for the top, and then for the skirt you have your front and back for view B, which is your shorter skirt, and the view C, which is the longer skirt. I think that what really makes this pattern stand out for the skirt is going to be these pockets here. And I don't know if they're functional, but they're certainly cute. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next pattern. Again, this one was McCall's 8586. All right, so the next pattern that we have here is McCall's 8582. This is Mrs. Dress in 2 lengths. It's a line fitted bias cut dress pattern that has spaghetti straps, low back, bow detail, and invisible side zipper. Views B and C have a high-low hem, and view B has contrast. Okay, so the sewing rating for this is going to be average. And let's take a closer look. Oh, I think this is so beautiful. I absolutely love this contrast with the different textures of this color here. This violet or lavender. You know, prom season is around the corner. Wedding season. You know, this would be a perfect dress for those occasions. Okay, so here's view C without the bow. You know, it looks a little bit more like a slip dress without the bow versus being more like dressed up with view B. And yeah, I'm loving this bow. It doesn't look juvenile. You know, it just kind of, in my opinion, dresses it up and takes it up a notch. So I am loving that. So let's look at the other photos. This is her again. And as you can see with this asymmetrical hem here that I think they're calling high-low, you know, it's going to come up to that mid-thigh here on the opposite side, but then it drags the floor. I think this is, I love it. Love it. Okay, so here's the yellow dress again without the bow, and it's just an even hem all the way across, but you could still put contrast in here if you desired to. Here's our model dress again. Ooh, all right. Okay, for the back. She's giving back. So you can't wear a bra with this one. So that counts me out, but there are options to modify that. You know, you could fill this in by adjusting your pattern piece, you know, just measuring that out or adding paper, you know, to your pattern piece. It's very easy to actually make that adjustment. So if this bothers you and you like it, you can certainly make this happen. I wouldn't count it out. Anywho, for the suggested fabrics, there's charmeuse, crepe back satin, crepe de chine, and then there is a lining for this. It just says lining fabric. There are finished measurements for the bust only. And so it goes from 32.5 to 49 inches. So it seems to be very size inclusive. Yeah, I love it. I think it's so cute. I like that. So let's go to the line art here. And so this is view A. Like I said, it's straight across and it has your different shapes of, you know, for the pattern pieces. Has your bust darts, but this would be the style that you would keep all one color and maybe the same fabric, but you can do whatever you want. You can change these to make it look like this, you know. This is your contrast and with the asymmetrical hem, and this is your view without the contrast. All right, super cute. Let's move on to the next pattern. All right, so now we have a 1980s Mrs. Gown slip and sash by Laura Ashley, and this is a 1980s vintage reproduction. I believe it is my vision. Yeah, vintage pattern reproduction, and it's authentic. All right. I'm getting Bridgerton from this. I think it's cute. So yeah, let's go ahead and look more into this. It says it's a vintage McCall's 1980s Laura Ashley gown, slip and sash, sewing pattern, back zippered gown, has bodice with shape stand up collar. It has a full gathered skirt and long or elbow length sleeves gathered at the cap, and it's gathered at the cap to button the cuffs, okay? It has a button cuff. Gown has tucks on the bodice front, skirt, sleeves, and cuffs, and lace trim and armhole ruffles. Fabric may be cut away under lace on bodice and skirt. Self fabric sash is trimmed with lace. Back zippered slip has fitted bodice with shoulder straps and gathered skirt with edging trim at the hem. And this is rated average. That was a lot. That was a lot. So as you can see, the pin tucks are here. I love it. And but you know it's going to take some work now to get this finished. But if you like projects and you like challenging yourself with these type of things, I think it's nice. For me personally, I would purchase this to make a top. I wouldn't even make a gown. This gown here, I would just make a top, and I think it would be such a fabulous gown. I mean top. Can't talk. Okay, so this is a full view of her, the model. And this is an illustrated copy, and this is the back. So it has a zipper. It's gorgeous, okay? I love it. So let's look at the fabric. This pattern suggests dotted Swiss, handkerchief linen, lightweight cotton, lightweight linen, linen muslin, point of his spirit, vol, and for the slip, batiste, sorry, can't see, batiste, lightweight cotton, vol, and gown and slip is not suitable for diagonals, checks, stripes, or plaids. You do need lightweight fusible or non-fusible interfacing. So there are finished measurements that are available for the bust and the waist, so you would definitely be able to pick out the appropriate size for this pattern. Let us look at the line art. Here's the line art here. Yeah, this is definitely a longer project, but there's nothing wrong with that. So you have your long sleeve here for view A, and then view B looks like identical except for the sleeves are shorter puff sleeves, and then you have your dress here, your slip right here. And it's funny because it's a slip, and that's, you know, how it was back in the 80s, but it looks like a sundress to me. So you could make a sundress with this pattern. All right, again, that is McCall's 8595, and we can go ahead and look at the next pattern. All right, so Miss Laura Ashley is back at it again with the 1970s Mrs. Dress pattern, and this is another authentic reproduction, and it is a high-waisted back zipper dress that has neck ruffles with a ribbon trim and tie belt included in front darts. Short sleeves gathered into bands have gathered cap. View A with trimming has ruffles sewn into the skirt. Views B and C have ruffles sewn to the lower skirt. Authentic vintage reproduction includes additional sizes and cutting layouts. This is also an average pattern. All right, so let's go ahead and get a close-up of this. All righty. So I can certainly see certain people making this in view C. I would actually make it in view C, but I would have to do a lot of adjustments at the bodice to make sure that my bust fit. But I think this is such a cute baby doll lookish type of dress, and would look nice on many silhouettes. But I do think it's cute. So this is a close-up of these ruffles here and how they're layered together. Looks like she has on some white boots underneath, and here's those panels here that are put into the dart. You know, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that in all of my sewing. Everything else is, seems normal, but yeah, that's very different. If nothing else, I'd try to make it to challenge myself to be able to do that. It's probably not hard, but it is something different. And so this is what the shorter dress looks like without all of the different ruffles. It just has that one. And then this is the longer version that has only one ruffle, but it just drags the floor. All right, and this is the back. Super adorable with this bow. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so let's take a look at the line art. And so this is your line art here. And this view A is definitely the star of this pattern. Okay, I love it. And I also love view C. And I just think it's so neat how those ties are built into the front darts. Yeah, super adorable. And again, this is McCall's 8594. And let's go ahead and check out the next pattern. All right, so now we have McCall's 8590, and this is a men's top, shorts, and pants. And it states that it's men's fashion top sewing pattern that has front button opening, raglan short sleeves, collar, and hemband. Pull-on shorts and pants have front ties, an elastic waistband, side pockets, and contrast at side panels, and hemband. It is rated as average. So here is a close-up, and it looks like this is some kind of sweatshirt type of fabric or terry. I don't really know, but it's a nice looking fabric. I can't just put my finger on which. I love the contrast. I love how it's kind of like coming into the front here at this seam on the shoulder so that you can really see the other color that is being contrasted. So yeah, I love that style of it. I think it's pretty neat. I love the pants. So let's take a look at the other photos. So it's the top, pants, it's him again in the shorts. Here's the back side of it. So yeah, that contrast is interesting because it is coming towards the front and there's hardly any showing in the back. So it's super neat. I like that. That makes it different. I feel like, in my opinion, and I like that panel for contrast there. And so for the fabrics, it's stating that you should use stretch knits only, such as a double knit ponte sweatshirt fleece, terry cloth, terry knit, and interfacing lightweight fusible. And I kind of feel like that is like a terry knit that they use for that, but it looks good and looks very comfortable. So let's take a look at the line art. And so here it is again, just right to the point. Looks just like the model's photos. All right, this is your view A, view B shorts, and view C. So it should be, even though it says that it's average, it should be a fairly easy project to do, and it's right on time. All right, so let's take a look at the next pattern. And again, this is McCall's 8590. So I mentioned earlier that I like that top that man was modeling with those wide leg pants, and here it is. Okay, so this is McCall's 8589, and this is a men's top with sleeve variations, and it states that it's a classic polo top sewing pattern that has V-shaped necklines, collar, front chest pocket, and comes in short or long sleeves. And view B has the contrast at the collar and the pocket. And it is rated as average. So here's the close-up of our models. And I like these type of tops. And honestly, I feel like a woman could make this for herself as well. But I like this contrast here. And I also like the longer sleeves for this as well. And so this is him again. And here's the back side of it. Looks like they put used a double needle to stitch that. Yeah, it looks kind of wonky. Here's your collar, and then here's your bottom, double stitched again. All right, and so for the suggested fabrics, it states that you need stretch knits only, such as a bamboo, cotton knit, interlock, I2Y, jersey, rib knit, and vertical shape knits. All right, the finished measurements are also on this pattern. Looks very size inclusive. It's boxy. So looks like the only difference between the chest and the waist is going to be about 1 inch. It goes from a 38.5 in the chest to a 58.5. So yeah, super, simple pattern, but definitely one that's timeless. Let's look at the line art. Again, here is the line art. All right. So again, that is McCall's 8589. All right, so now we have McCall's 8587, and this is a Mrs. Top short and pants, and it says that it's a stylish lounge set pattern that includes top, shorts, and pants. The top has spaghetti straps, ruffles, low or high-low hem, and bias tape finish at the armholes. Tiered balloon pants have ribbon ties, and I absolutely love this pattern. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the model. This is right up my alley, nice and free flowing. Let the girls just breathe and hang. Yes, love it. And so I'm going to be I have some trips that I'm getting ready to prepare for. This would be a perfect pattern for it. Hopefully it goes on sale soon enough so that I can get it and make it. But yeah, I love the pattern. So let's look at some more photos here. Again, this is her, and you can see this. I lost my train of thought, but I love the ruffles here, and I like that tier, and just love how it just kind of drapes on the sides. And here it is again. I love those shorts, and I like how it just gathers at the ankle, not dragging the floor, even though I do like some pants, pajama lounge pants. I don't mind them dragging the floor, but I like this for a different change. So let's look at that here. Cute little toes. All right. Here's the back side of it. And it comes down to like a U at the hem with the little gathers. Beautiful fabric too, by the way. I would make that. And so the suggested fabrics are going to be your challis, your dotted switch, georgette, and val. So the finished garment measurements do not include like the bust and waist and things like that. It's just giving the width of each leg and from the back length from the base of the neck. Yeah, we all know I have a problem and issue with that. It's just ridiculous, but I just don't know why it's not consistent as far as how they give the finished measurements across the board, but whatever. All right, so this is considered easy, and it is super easy. I just feel like I love easy patterns, okay? Not just because they're easy, but because it's just what I'm drawn to. So here's the line art. Excuse that noise. Someone's on their motorcycle going nuts. But yeah, here's the line art. I love this in the front. It's that high-low thing going on right here, draping on the side and tailing in the back. And so I really like this because it hides a lot. Like even for me, not only am I busty, but I have a bit of a belly, and it kind of covers, camouflages that too. So here's the shorts, and here's the pants. Yeah, I like to be covered at night, so I think I would make the pants Maybe I'll make this for my upcoming sewing retreat. All right, so again, this is McCall's 8587. All right, so now we're on McCall's 8585. This is a misses and women's top, short, and skirt with petite lines. This is given classy, okay? This is the bomb, in my opinion. Love it. Love the shorts, love the skirt, love the vest, or whatever they want to call it, the top, you know, love it. So it is a fitted top sewing pattern that has front patch pockets and belt with a vest buckle. A fitted short and skirt have a visible back zipper closure, and it is rated as average. And like I said, I am so here for this. Super love it. So let's take a look. Okay, so here is your misses and here is your woman's size. You know, it's just a difference in width. But I love it. I love those patch pockets. It just makes it easy. Love those princess seams for the shaping. This is beautiful. Love her shorts. Love the skirt. Yes. Okay, so here's an up close of hers, and I like how the neckline just kind of comes in the placket curves. It has a curve to it, so it's not just straight. So I like that about it. And again, those princess seams, yes. Pockets, it looks like it's been made in a linen. The only thing you got to be careful with this, you have to really make sure you measure these pockets to line up right, because you don't want to, you know, have too much overlap on one side. And you know, you're going to have your markings for that, but I just feel like sometimes they can easily shift. But you know, this princess seam is a good marker, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And yes, I'll be getting it, and the last pattern. I'm trying to be mindful of my pattern purchases because I just purchase so many, but I love them all. But I'm getting this. So yeah, love that look. All right, so I think I shared all of those. Look, okay, no, I didn't. So here's the back. So you have your little ties that are sewn into the seam, or either stitched down. It looks like it's sewn into it. Yeah, it's sewn into the seam. Or maybe it's not, because it doesn't go all the way down. I don't know how that's sewn it, but either way it goes. You have that, and you know, just a normal hem at the bottom. And then hers looks the same. She has a split here, nice little split. Give her some leg room. Okay, so the fabric suggestions are going to be your chambrays, chino, lightweight denim, and linen blends. Like I said, I believe that was a linen blend. Here, let me see, there are body measurements, but there are no finished measurements on the envelope. It says that you need to refer to the English guide that's inside the pattern that is at simplicity.com. Okay, so here's the line art right here, and yeah, it's, you know, looks just the way it does on the model. Super nice. I was trying to see if it stated how that the tie went in, but I guess that's something that I would have to see once I purchase the pattern. Okay, and again, this is McCall's 8585. Super cute. Alright, so now we have McCall's 8578, and this is a Mrs. Dress by Brandy Joan. And it's a ballerina mini dress pattern that has a halter neckline, gathered skirt, invisible zipper closure, and a narrow hem, and it is rated as average. So let's zoom up. I love it. I love how it goes down and how the bodice goes into a V, and then there's gathers. Love the halter. I mean, it's a cute dress. It's short, but it's cute, you know. So let's take a look at the photos here. So this is the front again. It's a full length view of it. Looks like there may be boning in there right here. And yeah, I like the filter she uses for the photos. The back, yeah, honey. I mean, woo-wee! Don't let the wind blow. But it is super cute, like I said, and you can always adjust that length. Alrighty. So her fabric suggestions are going to be cotton blends, crepes, satins, and satin. There's lining, so you're going to use your lining fabrics, interfacing, lightweight interfacing. There are finished measurements, garment measurements on here, so that's helpful. Goes up to a bust of 46 and a waist of 38. All right, but definitely might want to look into lowering the skirt if you purchase this. But I do like it. I do like it, and I think I could wear this because it's tight enough as a halter around the bust. You know, to hold me in. I just, like, for sure would have to bring it to at least here. Yeah, so that looks about 6-7 inches. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the line art. So here's your line art, easy peasy. Like I said, it's a super cute dress. I would certainly make it. I would. I mean, I know I talked about how short it was, but that's just a preference, and you can always lower it, you know? And that's what I would do. Maybe I might make it for vacation. That's McCall's 8578. All right, so now we have McCall's sewing pattern Mrs. Skirt in 2 lengths and belt. This is McCall's 8584. And it's a super cuted pleated skirt sewing pattern that sits below the waist, have length variations and invisible back zipper. Views B and C are belted and have cargo pockets with flaps and gussets. Okay, the pattern rating is average, and I can definitely see why. So let's get it up close. Look at this. This is different. Very different. I could see making this in like some printed fabric, denim fabric. It's interesting, but that's what I like. I like interesting and different things because that's what sets people apart sometimes. So here's the close-up again. I have not conquered making a belt like this before. Pretty sure it's not hard. I've used grommets before, so this would be a nice challenge. And here is the skirt without the pockets, and here's the longer one. I actually like the longer one too. I mean, and in this gray. Yeah, I'm kind of liking that. What do they call those pockets? Cargo pockets with flaps. Okay. What they look like, that's what they call them. So let me make sure I looked at all of the photos with you all. Alright, so here's the back. Oh, sorry. I'm messing up, y'all. Messing up. Okay, here's the back. So there's carriers and back zipper here. Invisible. Not so invisible. And yeah, it's super, I like it. There's, you know, work involved with it, but that's okay. For the fabric, it suggests flannel, lightweight denim, twill, and wool blends. Interfacing, you need medium weight, fusible interfacing, and there are finished measurements for the hip for A, B, and C, which are, you know, basically the same style. Yeah, cute, different. That's what I like when new patterns come out. So here's the line art here. And if I were to make a view, I honestly think I would go with view C. I just kind of like that, especially like in that gray. Even though I had mentioned earlier about the army, I would probably make the army or camouflage in the view B, but I really like this. Like, I could wear a nice button down top, tuck it with this, showing my belt, the flaps, with some heels. That is a different type of classy. I gotta get this one. All right, let's move on to the next pattern. Again, this was McCall's 8584. All right, so now we have McCall's 8576, and this is a missus dress with sleeve and length variations. And I know this is something that people have seen before, but what I love about this is that it's drop waist and it has the pleats and it's a button front. So it says it's a drop waist dress pattern that has front buttons with sleeve and length variations. This dress also has a collar band, box pleats, and an invisible side zipper closure. So yes, I think she's adorable in this. Look at that in this brown gingham. So cute. And I rarely see a brown gingham, but that is nice. Okay, so let's look at the other photos. This is another close-up. You see these black box pleats here. And these princess seams, bustards, or side seams, I should say. And this one is sleeveless. I do like that sleeveless look. Here is the, okay, that was just a front dart. I don't know what I called. I think I called it a princess seam. It's just a front dart. And so this is a sleeve, long sleeves. It'd be nice to see that long sleeve on someone. I don't know. It looks like it kind of, I don't know that I like the long sleeves. But I certainly like this longer version. Just imagine this just flowing with these box pleats. Beautiful. She's adorable. And then here's the back. Looks well made. Okay, so let's check out our fabrics. Cotton blends, gingham, linen, shirting fabrics. Lightweight and fusible. Interfacing, I'm sure, for the collar and collar stand. And there are finished bust measurements for the bust and waist. So, yay, I can fit into this. I might get it. I'm not sure. I mean, I like it a lot. But I need to really, like I said, control what I get. So, very, very nice. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the line art. And this is where your side zipper is going to be. And, of course, your longer sleeves, and then you have B and C that do not have the sleeves. Now I will say that maybe the sleeves, I might be okay with it on this version, the long one. I just feel like it's a lot of sleeves for for this, I guess, you know, the length of that. So yeah. Alright, so this is McCall's 8576. Alright, so now we have McCall's, what is it, 8577. This is a missus dress with sleeve and length variations. And it says that it's a fitted dress sewing pattern that has front and back stitch details. View A has drop shoulders, short cap sleeves, and a V-neck line. View B and C have, let's see, I'm blocking myself, have thin straps and a sweetheart neckline. And view C dress has an optional decorative shank button added on to the straps. And it is considered average. So here are the close-up photos. And as you can see in view A, all of this stitching here. Here is the shank button options, which I think is cute. I did that with one of my gowns last year that I made, and I liked it. And then this is view B. I could see doing this in like a, I don't know, maybe like a lightweight denim. I like it. I like it. Cute. All right, so let's look at the other photos. This is her up close. And you can see this detail here. And again, in those photos, here's the back. So it's a lot of detail. This is another cute option for like prom or wedding season. And so the suggested fabrics are going to be your cotton blends, denim, linen, or twill. And there's finished garment measurements on here for the bust, waist, and hips. I mean, yeah, hips. And so it looks to me to be size inclusive. I mean, for the bust, it goes up to 51.5 for view A. For view B and C, it goes up to a 50.5. The waist, the 44, and hips 57. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty good deal. All right, so let's look at the line art here. So here's your line art. Again, a lot of top stitching details, so you have to be comfortable and willing to do that in order to get this look here. But all of them are basically sleeveless. This has just a little bit of sleeve, but you know, there's no attaching a sleeve to any of these views, I should say. Okay, and that again is McCall's 8577. All right, so this is a pattern for hats and bags. This is McCall's 8597. I haven't shown any of the other crafting type of patterns on this video yet, but I know people love the hats. I know people love the bags, and look at this view C. Love it. Look at view D. Love it with the big bow. Even if you get the pattern for the big bow, if you don't know how to make a big bow, I think it's adorable. And I love view A, even with this little, you know, tie here in the back. See, the bow is a separate pattern piece because she has it on her hat. So yeah, that's why I love the little crafting patterns. Okay, so let's read this description. It's a line bucket hat sewing pattern that has a wide brim and crown ties that tie in the back. Line bucket hat with split wide brim, has contrast fabric, oversized bow. Lightly padded line totes have tapered shoulder straps, wide tabs with magnetic snap closures, oversized bows, and inner and outer patch pockets. Rectangular tote has bottom darts and matching bow. Shaped tote has side panels and contrast bow. Hats in 3 sizes: small 21, medium 22, large 23, and it is rated as easy. So let's take a look. Yes, for the wide hat, wide bucket hat, and you can just kind of see how it comes together at the ties. I feel like I would want mine to have a little bit more structure than this, but it's super cute. Look at that bow. Yeah, so this looks like a duck. Yeah, a cotton duck or something like that, or some kind of a twill, and that's what I would want mine to be in. And here's her bow. It has that same kind of texture, so yeah, look at the little bees in her bow. And the bag is bagging. Yes, I love it. It has a little, I don't know what this is right here. It looks like it, yeah, it has a fold over flap with a snap. So that nice closure. And then here, looks like the same. Beautiful. Love that shape. I personally, though, even though I like the way that looks, I wouldn't make this shape because stuff just ends up just tipping out because it never just sits right for me. And that's a me thing. It's a user error, I'm sure, but I'll probably just stick with the C, but the D is great. All right, so here's your line art right here, and I'm definitely getting this. All right, so this is McCall's 8597. McCall's 8583, and I'm in love. I'm in love. I love this skirt. I love it. Like, love it. Okay, definitely getting this. I need the sale to happen. All right, so this is McCall's 8583, as Mrs. Skirt in 2 lengths. Line flared skirt sewing pattern sits at the natural waist, has a bubble gathered hem, length variations, and a visible side zipper closure. View C has bias drape detail. Okay, yeah, I see that. Now, McCall's came out with a bubble hem skirt not too long ago. They actually may have had 2, but this is a cleaner version of that. I was going to have to clean it up on my own. And if you don't know, I prefer to not alter patterns because I don't get enough time to sew the way I'd like to. So having to alter patterns is not my zhish. So I'm here for this pattern. I'm here for this one. McCall's 8583. Let's take a closer look. All right, so love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so here's a close-up. We've got some seams here going on. I love view A. I love view B. I love view C. And here's like that bias tape or bias drape detail. And looks like there's going to be a sew along for that. I haven't checked that on the other one, so yes, 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 yes. All right, she's giving. Look what she's got said. I got legs, and I'm gonna show them. She's giving us all of that. She looks beautiful. All right. Ooh, okay, I see her. She's, you know, showing the back side. So here's the back. The gathers are perfectly gathered, especially when you're using the lightweight or that light colored fabric. You got to make sure you are on point, or not even just light in color. Non-printed fabrics will show everything. So you got to make sure your gathering game is on point. And for the fabrics, it suggests chambray, linen blends, poplin, and taffeta. Also, lightweight fusible interfacing is needed, I would assume, for this upper portion of the skirt. There's finished garment measurements for the waist. All right. And I'm barely fitting into it. But I can. All right. Let's move on. All right, let's look at the line art. And here's your line art. Yeah, super nice. Again, you know, I know that there have been like bias cut patterns by McCall's in the past, but this is just given like the bubble trend that's going on right now. So I'm here for it. McCall's 8583. Okay. Now we have McCall's 8581. It's like, and this is a Mrs. and women's dress in 2 lengths, and it's an empire waist dress that has close fitting through the bust and has a sweetheart neckline, double bow front, line bodice, and narrow straps. Full skirt has side front pockets, no side seams, visible back zipper, and unlined skirt, and is rated as average. So let's take a look. I like it. I do like it, and I especially like these pockets. I'm having an issue with these bows though. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're not big enough. I don't know. Or maybe just put one. I'm not really sure, but I do like the dress. But if I purchased this, I would not do the double bow. But these pockets, just love it. All right, so love this fabric here. It's very simple, straight to the point. There's a lot of gather, like these are like heavy gathers. So the finger's going to be burning fingertips if you don't have a gathering foot, or if you don't know how to use a gathering foot. But maybe it's more so this dress, this green dress, that bothers me, because like it feels like there's not a lot of structure in this bow, so it's just kind of drooping and it just looks out of place. But I'm just imagining the bow not being on this bodice, and it just looks like it would be the perfect dress. So I'm sure it's optional, you know, and it's a preference. I get it. But I think it's would be really suitable for maybe like a prom, you know. Maybe it's just me, my own opinion, and it is my own opinion. Everyone's different, but maybe it just feels juvenile to me. All right, so let's look at the other photos. We saw that. We saw this one. This is the black and white version. Okay, let's look at the back. Very, you know, typical. That's what I would expect. Nice, beautiful hem. And let's look at the fabrics that it suggests. Okay, these first two I've not heard of. Mikado, Fail or something like that. Faille. I can barely see it. Sateen and taffeta. There is a lining for this, and medium weight fusible interfacing is needed. And the body finish measurements are on the English guide, so I don't know, you know, we're not going to be able to see them. So if you're interested in this, you may want to call Simplicity to get that information. Okay, so let's look at the line art. Here's your line art. And so here on this line art, the bows look a lot better. And I just think maybe there's not enough structure within the bows, at least on the green, to where I can like feel it. You know what I'm saying? But it's not unattractive. I'm not trying to criticize, I should say. I don't think it's bad. It's just a personal taste. All right. So again, that is McCall's 8581. Moving on. Okay, so now we have a 1970s Mrs. dress or jumper and a jumpsuit. This is a authentic reproduction pattern. It states that the dress or jumper and jumpsuit have shoulder straps buttoned under band in back, upper front opening with ties and elastic in waistline casing, and there are additional sizes and cutting layouts. It's considered easy to sew. And so this is what it looks like, and I think it's super cute. I love them all, especially like this white one is like giving. Okay, so let's see what kind of fabric this suggests. Cotton blends, cotton broadcloth, lightweight denim, lightweight duck, lightweight seersucker, and peak. As far as the finished measurements, this is going to be on the sewing instructions, so you can't see it, but like I said, you can call Simplicity, but this is what it looks like. I really, really like this. It's these little bows in the front for me. So let me blow this picture up again. It's these right here. I just called bow a juvenile, but now I want this bow, right? Yeah, I think it's the intricate details, like how the size of it and how it's coming together. I like front tie things. That's a thing for me now. Either I'm just starting to like it or I'm just jumping on the trend, whatever the case may be. But yeah, these little bows and these ties in the front, I am here for that. Love it. And I would make that jumpsuit. I sure would. Because you can untie these bows and pull it down, I would assume so. It has an elasticated waist. So I will say that I am getting tired of my jumpsuits where I have to like just go through so many changes to use the bathroom. But having that in the front, making it easier, I'm loving that. Okay, so there's no additional photos. So let's look at the line art. Here is the line art. The one thing about the finished garment measurements not being on this pattern is that people that are larger, like me, usually don't fit into all of these vintage patterns. So I would definitely have to call before I make that purchase, because I would be upset if I got it and it did not fit me. But I do like it, and I like it more, like I said, for the jumpsuit. This one right here. And again, this is McCall's 8596. Alright, so now we have a McCall's 8580. This is the McCall's sewing pattern. This is shirt in 2 lengths. It's a fitted collared shirt sewing pattern that have hem variations, front button opening, long barrel sleeves, princess seams, and back darts. You see, shirt has side slits. So for me, you know I love a statement sleeve. A statement sleeve is a good thing. You know I love my button front tops. So I like it. I do. And it's the barrel sleeves for me. Okay, so let's take a closer look at these barrel sleeves. What I've noticed with all of these barrel type of patterns is it's a pleat or in the crease area of the body. And that's exactly what this is showing. You can see it here, and you can definitely see it in this view right here. This view right here has, you know, these points that come down in the front, and then this one is kind of straight across. This is longer. I would definitely have to make this longer view because I would be so nervous about like lifting up my arm and then my stomach showing here. So here is the top up close. Super cute. And it looks like there's a sleeve front and back, or maybe front, back, and side. Maybe 3 pattern pieces to, it could be either 2 or 3 pattern pieces to the sleeve. And you see here, here's the slits for the longest view, the view that I would make. And I just love these long princess seams. Love them. Alright. Back to her. Here's the back. Okay, so 2 pattern pieces for the sleeve. There's the back seam and then back darts. So very, very shapely. For the fabric, it calls for cotton blends, linen, poplin shirting, and it does need lightweight fusible interfacing, and I'm sure that's for the collar and the collar stand. The finished measurements are on here. So the bust goes up to 48.5, the waist 42. Guess what? I can fit it. So yes, yep. Here's your 2 pattern pieces for the sleeve. I love it. I love being different, and I still have a lot of that cotton linen blend from Hobby Lobby. So I could definitely make a nice structured button front top with this, in the barrel. It's gonna be barreling. All right, so let us take a look at the line art here. So yeah, and of course, like I said, I would make this view here. And it's interesting. It's, you know, I wonder how long. I would have to check the back of the pattern to see how long that view is. This is view C, and view C, let's see, my size here would be 27.5 inches. I don't know. I may shorten that, but at the end of the day, I can still fit it. So win-win. McCall's 8580. Alright, and so then we have McCall's 8579, and this is a Mrs. top in 2 lengths. It's super cute. This is a vest style halter top pattern in 2 lengths that has gathered cross neck and front button openings. And views B and C have front flaps. Okay, and view C has a contrast. A little spicy. I like it. Look at this. Nice wraparound. Yes, this is so good. So good. Alright, so let's look at the other photos. Yes, with the bling buttons and the pink. I'm just loving this. This black and white. I love it. Okay. And this is up close. I got another motorcycle, so if you hear that noise, that's what it is. I don't know what's wrong with these people. And these pants are sharp too. Okay. Okay. Nice, but deep. Deep. So, no biggie. I just have to take one of the halters I've made before and make sure that it comes up here. But I like this enough to purchase this pattern and make it. I do. I have really struggled with patterns being like okay, you know, after I make it, and I have to do a lot of alterations with the halters, but I'm willing to do it. So the suggested fabrics are going to be your cotton blends, crepes, lightweight suiting fabrics, and linen. It does call for lightweight fusible interfacing. The bust and waist measurements are on here, so they go all the way up to a 50.5 for the bust, as low as 34, and 27 as a low in the waist, and the highest at 43.5. So I do fit into this, and I like I said, I like it. I like that contrast one so much, like so much. But again, I would have to make an adjustment and make it go across this top. So it is considered average if I didn't say that. And here's a liner. All right, everyone, so there you have it, the 2025 summer patterns for McCall's. I absolutely enjoyed, once again, going through these patterns one by one, looking at all the details so that I can make a very informed decision when I do decide to purchase patterns, and I won't have any surprises. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's any patterns that stood out to you, please let me know in the comments below which ones you like, which ones you think you may get. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video with me, and stay tuned to the channel because I will be uploading videos pretty soon. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all of my new and returning subscribers for your support, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!